Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to Kitchen Table Meta. So today, I have something really exciting to do. I told you guys I had a little surprise for you today, and that is the return of Top 5 Tuesday, which I know was the fan favorite video. Everyone loved these videos, and I loved making them. And obviously, you know, we've been going for a little bit. Now we're back. Super excited to be here and continue this consistent quality content you guys come to expect from KTM. And so today we're going to do our first Top 5 Tuesday video in a very, very long time. So today's topic is the top 5 leaders that you should be prepared for after the SS3 ban. So if you guys didn't know, you can check out my video about the SS3 ban. He got banned until the new set 5 comes out, and until then we're having no SS3. That's going to change the meta a lot. So I know there's a lot of events coming up. One in particular will be one I'll be at this weekend in Georgia, the Pro Play Games regional event there. It's going to be a fantastic event. Please come down and see me if you guys are going to be there. And I want to get you guys kind of prepared and kind of, you know, get you guys used to what you might be wanting to see. There's going to be, you know, in my opinion, 5 leaders you're going to see a whole lot of. And I want to get you guys prepared to see those leaders and prepared to face them coming up this weekend and the other weekends leading up to Set 5 release. All right, guys, so without further ado, we're going to move on to the top 5 leaders, again, to be prepared for after the SS3 ban.
Coming at you with number 5.
All right, guys, at number 5, we have the announcer, which I'm super excited about. Ever since this card has been announced, I was super pumped about this card. I love these cards. I love the cards that have the fixed energy ability where you can, you know, play certain types of cards and they don't have any specified cost. I think they're very fun decks to play. They're always, you know, very unique, and they're, you know, more importantly, they're always very synergistic. They feel really fun to play. They're also, you know, pretty easy to build too, especially the first set that come out, which is one downside that I have with the announcer. The decks pretty much build themselves. There is a little bit of, you know, variety you can do. There's obviously, you know, more blue-based decks or more yellow-based decks. Some people like to include a lot of blue for Sensu Bean and you know, the Sensu counter. Sorry, the Whist's Corrosion counter. Some people use yellow, though, for Flying Nimbus and those kind of things. Actually, James Campbell, a member of our KitchenTableMeta Semi-Pro team, just took the deck to a PPG event last weekend and got top 8 with it. Has a great deck profile up on PPG's YouTube channel. I'll have the description. I'll have the link to that video in the description below so you guys can check it out. Like I said, he can explain the deck a lot better than I can. He did a fantastic job with the deck. But he did have a yellow-based sideboard, which I thought was super cool. It was really neat. It was really cool. He had Battering Laser in there and some other stuff, which is really neat that an announcer has the ability to do that. Because traditionally, all the leaders that have this ability are restricted and only be able to play extra cards from that type 2, but announcer he only has to have World Tournament battle cards in his deck, and he can have any extra card he wants in his deck, which is super cool and super unique, and really what I think puts him at number 5 of this list of what's kind of puts him over the top on all the other, you know, leaders that have that same ability. Also, something else to remember is the announcer has the ability to draw cards on both turns. So he can draw a card when he plays a World Tournament card on his turn, but the effect is also active. It's once per turn. So similar to Pan, he can use it on his opponent's turn too, which is really important. There's 2 counter cards that have battle cards that can counter that are in an announcer deck. There's the actual announcer and also Videl. Both those cards are very powerful, and it's super important to have that access that for announcer. Since announcer is a 2 energy untapped leader, remember how we base how good those leaders are is their ability to protect themselves. If you can protect yourself and almost guarantee you can awaken on your turn, the untapped 2 leaders are much more powerful, and announcers has the ability to do that with these multiple counterplay cards and access to Sensu Beans and Flying Nimbus and other things he can use. And in my opinion, he is one of the best untapped 2 leaders, if not the best untapped 2 leader when it comes to the defensive capabilities solely. And then last, the one thing I think is a little bit of a downside with announcer, we talked a little bit about before, was, you know, the variety of what he can do to win. It's very obvious what he's going to try to do to win. He's going to try to kill you with either Goku or Oob combo, or kill you with the Goku Vegeta combo. Those are the 2 big ways he wins the game. There's some other things that people try to do, but, you know, definitely keep in mind that he's going to use World Tournament battle cards to kill you, because that's the only thing he can use. And so it makes him kind of predictable in his final turns and his all-in turns. And so keep that in mind. It is very powerful, though. Remember, remember when he does awaken, he can choose 2 World Tournament cards, give them both 5,000 power. It's extremely powerful, especially with the Goku. He has triple strike. That's insane. So you can definitely put a lot of pressure on you on his awakening turn, but after that, he's pretty weak. So remember, Announcer really wants to stay on his front side as long as possible and then awaken and try to kill you. That's really what he tries to do. So if you can survive that all-in turn or make him have to awaken on your turn, it really hurts his aggression and really hurts his ability to win. All right, guys, so that's number 5, and we're going to move on to number 4.
Let's take a look at number 4.
All right, guys, at number 4, we have my girl, Pan. Hashtag Pan fanboys. I love this girl. I love this leader. We talk about it all the time on chat in my Twitch stream. We're always going, building Pan decks. We've built, almost every version of Pan you can think of, anywhere from Buhan Pan or Pan Han's what I called it, all the way to I think we call it the Frying Pan, which is a super aggressive version of it. But Pan is such a cool, versatile leader, and more importantly, a defensive leader. And again, I expect to see a lot of aggressive aggro decks in the formats, and so I think Pan is another great choice. She's very defensive and has access to a lot of things. So in my opinion, Pan is the most defensive leader in the game. She's the best at it. She has the ability to play cards on her turn and your turn. Both those cards draw cards, but unlike Announcer where it has to be a World Tournament card, Pan can use anything. So she can use Topos, she can use the Vegetas that come into play. As long as that card goes, from 15 to 10, 15 to 20, she's going to draw a card, and that's amazing. So it's really important to realize with Pan that you have so many defensive options, not only in the cards you can play in your opponent's turn, but also the Sensu Bean and the Red Negate as well, the Saiyan Negate that gives her plus 5k. She can just be as defensive as you want to make her. On top of that, she always replaces that card you play. So you play a Topo and counter the attack, you get to draw a card off of it. The only leader in the game that gets to do that, and it's just extremely powerful in the right situations. Also, something else to remember about Pan, in my opinion, Pan is the best chain Zeno leader in a vacuum, meaning that she is the best leader at just playing chain attack Zeno. They changed the ruling with her, so whenever you play the chain attack Trunks down, you play Zeno down, you can actually wait and hold her trigger to trigger after the Zeno effect, so you draw an extra card after Zeno. That is extremely powerful, and your Zeno goes from 15 to 20k, which allows you to put tons of pressure on your opponent after that chain Zeno. Something else to remember about Pan, she's also very good at playing at low cards in hand, which is going to be very important in a format that I think is going to be ran by a lot of Cell Chain. A lot of people are wanting to play Cell Chain, a lot of people are talking about playing Cell Chain, so if you have the ability to play a chain attack Zeno, which is a great way to rebound from Cell Chain, or just being really good at playing at low cards in hand, that's fantastic. Cards like the new Gohan, Red Gohan promo are fantastic in Pan. It lets her draw a card and attack and draw 2 more cards after a Cell Chain, which is all you need to get right back into the game. And once Pan gets that hand advantage back up, she stays at that hand size, and it's really hard to take her hand away multiple times throughout a game. So that's my reason why I think Pan is the 4th best leader that you should be looking out for moving into the SS3 ban meta.
Moving on to number 3.
All right, guys, at number 3, we have my old friend, Soul Striker Goku, the guy that got me top 32 in Richmond, the guy that I've been playing almost non-stop in set 1 and set 2 meta. Love this guy, and honestly, I missed him a little bit. Soul Striker Goku, just a fantastic leader from the starter decks and all the way back in set 1. Just the original SS3 Goku, the original untapped leader, and honestly, I think the best mid-range leader in the game. He's a leader that's going to take SS3 spot as the best on curve leader, meaning that he can play stuff on, he can play a 4-drop on 4, attack, untap 1 or 2, and continue his, turn, or just set back and use that as defense. Not very many leaders can do that, and that's honestly one of the big reasons why SS3 is so powerful, is the ability to do that very quickly and, just be able to do it very consistently. Now remember that the good thing about SS3, Soul Striker Goku, is that he's one of the hardest leaders to deal with after 5. So after he gets 5 energy, gets that 5k boost, he's extremely hard to deal with. He can attack you for 20k, gets to draw a card off that 20k, untaps 2. He's really good when combined with blue-green. There's just so many good blue-green cards, that almost perfect mid-range deck that you have Analyza, you have Piccolo, you have Vegito, Bergamino. You have ways to attack your opponent's hand, ways to kill their battle cards, and ways to untap your energy. One of my favorite things I've been doing with Soul Striker Goku, keep wanting to say SS3 Goku for some reason, is I love pairing him with Dragon Fist Goku. I think it makes the leader so much fun to play. Dragon Fist leader being the 6-drop Goku that when he attacks, you can bounce a barrier and then untap 2 energy. that with Goku is just so much fun. You can play him on 6, attack with him, untap 2, attack with the leader, untap 2 more, and now you're back up to 4. Now remember, one of the bad things with Goku's ability though is that it can only untap blue energy. Unlike SS3, you can't untap any energy you want. And so when you pair Soul Striker with blue-green or blue-red or whatever you want to combine it with, some people are running mono blue, you know, almost anything you can build with Goku, those, you want to make sure your ratio is right to where you can always untap enough energy. So you always want the deck to be a little bit more blue-based because now we have some fantastic blue cards that can really take advantage of his ability. So guys, remember, keep an eye out for Soul Striker Goku. I know it's been a long time since we've seen him, but this leader can be extremely deadly in certain situations. And if this format slows down at all, he is going to be the king of the format, being able to king of the mid-range, being able to untap energy and really pressure you with multiple 4 and 5 drops throughout the game.
Number 2 coming at ya.
All right, at number 2, we have androids. Now, it's important to remember that in this slot, you can honestly replace androids with almost any leader that can run the cell chain, which is what I'm really expecting to see a lot of now. Now, in my opinion, androids is the best cell chain leader, but don't forget you can try using Cell or Mira. I think those are 2 good leaders as well, but I just think androids do what they want to do as well as them, and then have some pretty cool unique access to some things that the other 2 leaders don't. But it's really important to remember that I think that cell chain is just very powerful. It gets slow in blue decks. Both of those things I expect to see a lot of now that SS3 is gone. We're going to see obviously still a lot of blue decks, and we're going to see, you know, a more slower format. So cell chain really excels in this situation. Now, it's also important to remember that in a slower format, hand destruction in general is going to be better, right? The slower the format is, the better hand destruction is, and androids have access to multiple hand destruction, not just cell chain. They have access to the 16 super combo and the overwhelm cards, either Toa or Mira, ever which one you want to run. Both of those are very powerful in the right situation, and again, hand destruction is going to be better the slower the format is. It's really important to remember that, especially as we move on to set 5 as well, which I expect hand destruction to just get better and better. Like I said, the slower the format is. Now, something else that's really good for androids is they got a lot of new toys in the new Ultimate box. They got spot removal with the Android 17, which is something they never really had access to before. In a lot of situations, androids would lose their games because their opponent would be able to, not die to their aggression and then get 1 or 2 big threats out, and androids just doesn't have the defense or the way to remove them, and then those 2 things would just take over the game. Now, it was really upsetting, but it was, again, something that we could always expect, and players would always attack that weakness to androids. But now that androids have spot removal, it's very easy to catch someone overextending, remove their threats, and now you have them on the ropes. Something else you got access to was a new 5-drop cell, which draws them 2 cards. That's just a great utility option and a great sideboard option for the deck. It's going to help them a lot when they're facing against chain attack Xeno leaders as well, where they can, if they can get lucky off the draw back from chain attack Xeno, they can easily, rebuild their hand. But just in general, the card is great in the mirror match as well. If you get your hand taken down to 3 from an opposing cell chain, you can build your hand back up when necessary. It's just a great utility piece. It's nowhere near as good as the actual shell chain, the 5-drop that kills and the 7-drop that discards down to 3, obviously, but it's just a great piece of utility that they never had access to before. And then finally, they have access to a lot more defensive options than they did before. Again, like we talked about with the 17, androids has always kind of struggled in the defense category. But the Krillin blocker and the new Android 17 blockers are all 3 just insane blockers that this deck has access to. Also, just having access to the Android 16 Revenge blocker is also very good too. So they just have a lot more defensive options than they used to. They also have the Android counter that can be great against a lot of different decks as well. So they just have a lot more options than they really had in set 2. Also remember that Androids is one of the most energy efficient decks now that SS3 is gone. It has the ability to play, 2 drops for 1 and 3 drops for 2, and all that energy advantage adds up very quickly, allowing them to beat you in energy efficiency, which is one of the 3 ways to win. Remember, we win by either energy advantage, hand advantage, or battlefield advantage, having more creatures in play, and Androids really excels at all 3 of those things, be able to destroy your hand advantage, to be able to put more things out faster than you can, and do that for cheaper with that energy advantage. So I'm telling you guys, Androids is a fantastic deck and one you should be looking out for now that SS3 is banned.
Finally, number 1.
All right, guys, and finally, at number 1, the champ, Harutogen. Now, this is a deck, a leader that I think everyone's probably a little tired of seeing, but it's just a fantastic deck. Now, I don't think that this deck is going to be the best deck in the whole format. I don't think this deck is going to come in and be super oppressive or anything like that, but I do think it's going to be the one that we're going to see the most people play. It's a deck that got changed a little bit with the Flute change. So Flute got taken from being able to run 4 copies of your deck to only 1. Really changed the way this deck is being played, but it's still a familiar deck for a lot of players. So if you played Hirudegarn before the Flute change, you can still just cut the three Flute out of your deck, replace them with 3 other cards, and still play the deck, you know, relatively in the same way. And that's going to be really important moving into any new format. People are going to stick with what's familiar, and they're going to stick with aggro decks. Remember, aggro decks are always going to be the best decks in a new format, and because of that, Hirudegarn is the king of aggro, the one that you should be very prepared for. Now, the problem again when you face against Hirudegarn, unlike some of these other leaders, is it's a very versatile leader. It's one of those leaders you sit down across from, and you're not exactly sure which version they're playing. You can play blue-red Hirudegarn, you can play blue-yellow. I've even seen people play mono-blue Hirudegarn, and they've all had success with the leader. So remember that when you're setting down from the leader, it's going to be really important to you know, try to keep a hand that's as versatile as their leader can be, and try your best to quickly identify what version they're playing and prepare against that. Also remember that another big thing that Hirudegarn has, you know, that puts him at #1 in my opinion, is just the overwhelming card advantage that it has. It has the ability to gain a lot of cards from its leader ability and a lot of cards from its super combo. It's one of the few leaders that can do it. It's what makes it, you know, pretty resilient against Cell Chain and pretty resilient against a lot of these other decks. One of the only ways you can really deal with its card advantage is just grinding it out, which, you know, decks like Pan, you know, can do with its overwhelming defense. But, you know, it's really, really hard to kind of overcome that hand advantage because there's just so much of it in the deck. It's also why the deck is so good against Chain Attack Zeno, and also very good using Chain Attack Zeno. They can just essentially, you know, rip your hand down to 5 and then quickly build their hand back up. It's very frustrating, but it's the thing that makes Hirudegarn very good. Also, remember that if you're playing against this deck, you want to make, or if you're going to any tournament at all, or any event, local, whatever it may be, make sure you have a defensive sideboard plan ready for this deck, because it's almost 100% chance that you're going to, you know, play this deck, or at the very least, this deck will be at your local, or, you know, your event. So definitely prepare for it. There's some ways you can do that. With Sensu Bean is a great idea. Any kind of Sensu Bean effect that will work, like the red negate is also very good. Also, blockers is something else. You know, that's why we've seen a lot of decks run a lot of blockers in the decks. A lot of the free blockers are very good. Just make sure you have a defensive plan and you know, be able to apply that against Hirudegarn, because if you can slow this deck down, it's possible you can overwhelm it, you know, through board advantage. So definitely remember that, keep that in mind, and I hope that this series has prepared you for any events and stuff you're going to. Guys, remember, I will be at Atlanta, Georgia this weekend. Flying out Thursday, and I'll be there Thursday night and Friday, and then flying back out Saturday. So please, guys, stop by, see me, say hi. Always love talking to you guys. Always love going to these events. Honestly, it's the big reason I go to these events, is to, you know, see you guys and talk to you guys, interact with you. So please stop by and see me. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the content, the Meta Monday and the Top 5 Tuesday. Let me know in the comment section, you know, what kind of content you guys want to see, and let me know if there's anything I can do better for you guys. Remember, I always want to put you guys first. And you guys are just an amazing, amazing group of people that have been supporting me from the start. And I just love each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Guys, I will try my best to have one of the new set reviews, either black or red set review, up this week. But then, like I said, since I'm traveling to the regional this weekend, I won't be able to put up, you know, much more content for the rest of the week. But I'll be back early next week with some more content. So be definitely looking forward to that. Guys, thank you again so much for the support. Love you so much. And we'll see you next time.